Hi, I'm Sophia Witherspoon, born and raised in Fort Pierce, Florida. I am a coach and a teacher here and a mentor at Fort Pierce Central High School, where everything began for me. So it's an honor to be back teaching and coaching and back in Fort Pierce. It's one of those touchy areas that you see. They've done a lot of marketing, and no matter how much we market, we just have to be real. The guys are going to be around for a long time. It's been over 50 years for them. We're praying that we make those many years, that our children and children's children will have something to look forward to. But the realistic of it, you know, we're women. The inequality in a lot of areas, we don't even get paid as nearly as much as the men. So you talk about salaries. How can they go up on the salaries? The salaries have increased tremendously since we've played as pioneers, but they would never be equal as the men. And we just have to look at that. So no matter how much we market, and we have gotten in strong supporters and endorsers and all of that, but I just think it's just something here in America that it's so much that we can do that either you're aboard or you're not. A lot of people not believing or even understanding. Some of the challenges that I faced was being in places that I've never thought I would be in, and you know, wanting my family to be there, being away from family, not seeing a lot of my nieces and nephews grow up. When I left, they were little kids, and then coming back and spending so many years overseas, seeing them as adults and teenagers, you can never get those memories back. So just sacrificing, being away from family, being away from your friends that you normally would see. But a lot of the challenges overseas is not being able to speak the language, so you have a language barrier. Learning how to communicate with people that you don't know, learning how to trust. That was one of my main things, because I used to have a problem with trusting, and I had to learn to step out and trust. You know, that number one, being a woman over in a foreign country, that it's safe for me to be there. And then being an African American as well. I can remember being in Poland, and you can tell being in Poland that they hadn't experienced a lot of African Americans before. I remember going into the supermarket, and this little boy was in a stroller, and he looked up, and he just kept looking up at me until finally his mom said he's never seen African Americans before. And to me, it was like, I never really thought about it. So I just reached down without even thinking about it, because it was almost like I could read this kid's mind. And when he touched and he did like this to see if it would come off, and once he noticed that my skin color wouldn't come off, to him that was something he's never experienced before. That was a challenge in itself, but learning how to deal with a different culture and understand that everybody's different anywhere you go. But one of the good things that I've learned about being in different cultures is that I think they accept us a little bit more than Americans do. So for me, I learned that, to learn how to, no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, wherever you're from, to accept people for who they are. So I think a lot for me, a lot of good came out of it other than the challenges. For me, I say those were my isolation years, that, you know, God took me into different realms in Him and different places in Him, allowing me to get to know myself. And then 1997, the WNBA came about. Had to go through the back door in order to get there. Ended up going to a training camp that they had to try out. Did well there, and I was drafted second round, 11th pick overall for New York Liberty, behind Sue Wicks, who's a hometown girl. And from there, the journey began. So New York, spent 3 years there. Amazing journey, being a part of history, something that none of us could imagine, because growing up for us, all we had was dreaming about was the Olympics. And being able to start a league here in the United States that's 20 years later, New York Liberty has been in existence. It's an amazing feeling. Going on from there, Portland Fire, spent 2 years in Portland Fire, and went on to LA Sparks, where I won a championship with LA Sparks in 2002. For some odd reason, Here in America, I just don't see them embracing. But that's a dream of ours, especially the ones who have played in the league, and we pray that that's where it goes. But the reality of it is that's why so many of the players do double seasons a year. A lot of them play here because they can play amongst their families and their friends, but you really think about the monetary value. A lot of them go overseas to where they can make anywhere from, you're talking about the money that they're making now in 6 to 8 months. I mean, that's what a lot of us dreamed of. That's why we wanted to do this, so that not only will we, have something for our families, because a lot of us was playing for our families, not for ourselves. But you're talking about anywhere from $300 to $1 million in 6 to 8 months. That's a lot of money, and I don't foresee those salaries being that here. Not yet. It's going to take a long time. Until then, a lot of the women will continue to venture out overseas and make a living for their families. They enjoy playing here in the United States, and because you get to play amongst your family and friends, but when you're talking about the financial part of it, I really think a lot of them will continue to play overseas. It's just one of those things where I think a lot of different cultures and foreign cultures appreciate the art of us more so than we do here in America.